Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
If your child goes to a Fargo public school, you might want to keep an eye on the COVID-19 case rate in Cass County.
The district will use that to determine if school will be in-person or distance learning. The case rate comes out once every other week. As of September 29th, if there are more than 14 cases per 10,000 people, there will be no in-person classes. This does not change the plan set in place for the beginning of school. It is the model that school leaders will use to continue to assess the COVID-19 risk.
David Zabalski has been approved by the Fargo City Commission as the next police chief for Fargo, but before he officially takes over the job, he'll have to go through an extensive background check and pass medical and psychological examinations. That could last 3 to 5 weeks. Zabalski will be paid just under $160,000 a year. He takes over for Chief David Todd, who retired.
Downtown Fargo business owners are asking city leaders to step up and make some changes. They're concerned about the safety and well-being of the downtown area.
Valley News Team's Katie Opperly explains what's wrong and what they feel has made matters worse.
A lot of work has gone into filling downtown Fargo with shops, restaurants, and bars for people to enjoy. But those who work there and have businesses say that dangerous activity is driving people away.
Either drunk people or people like under the influence, as well as a lot of fighting and like yelling.
Business owners are struggling to make customers feel welcome and safe when their businesses are already suffering economic devastation.
The Downtown Community Partnership says a lack of social service resources since the pandemic began and changes in open container ordinances have led to more trouble, like fighting and harassment.
We're hearing over and over again from our customers their concerns about this and that they think twice before bringing their children downtown with them.
People didn't have a place to go. They didn't have a place for public bathrooms. They didn't have a place to go during the day to get a warm cup of coffee or a hot meal. And so we saw a greater presence of people lacking those resources and, turning to vices.
Dan's has some suggestions, social services and resources for people who need it most, the people and bars that contribute to these issues to be held accountable, and ordinances that allow police to act.
Making sure that the city continues to fund social services for those who need it most and put housing as a priority. And with that, we would also like to see a day center.
We can't move the problem down the street or to another part of town. We're not going to arrest our way out of these concerns, and we need to have humane conversation that leads to solutions.
Nicole Crutchfield, the city's director of planning and development, says needed help for many of the homeless downtown were lost during COVID. However, the focus seems to be getting those services restored. For the businesses, the sooner the better. In Fargo, Katie Opperly, Valley News Live.
Crutchfield says they'll be getting together with police on Wednesday to further the efforts.
A Fargo man says he's lucky to be alive after losing his leg in a farming incident. Aaron Maves was working at Red River Commodities sweeping a grain bin when he says his leg got caught in an auger. After emergency responders arrived, Maves says it took nearly 40 minutes to free him. OSHA is investigating this incident. We also dug up records and found that in 2018, Red River Commodities paid more than $25,000 in fines after an employee died.
Grain bin auger accidents have a very low survival rate. It happens so quick in a flick of a switch that literally lives could be taken away.
Red River Commodities tells us employee safety is their top priority, and it has launched a formal investigation into what happened Thursday. A GoFundMe page was set up to help Aaron Maves and his family. You can find a link on our website. That's valleynewslive.com.
If you attended the Sturgis motorcycle rally, the North Dakota Department of Health wants you to watch for coronavirus symptoms. Health officials tweeted that as of today, 17 people in the state who are connected to the Sturgis rally have COVID-19. Also, there's mass coronavirus testing going on in the city of Sturgis, and public health departments in at least 6 states are trying to track outbreaks from the 10-day rally. They're trying to measure how the coronavirus spread in the bars, tattoo shops, and gatherings before people traveled home to nearly every state in the country. There were hundreds of thousands of bikers in attendance.
The University of North Dakota school leaders have planned safety plans as parents and students go back to class, students particularly. This comes as fear and uncertainty continue to grow on UND's campus as COVID-19 cases continue to climb. Right now, there are over 230 students on campus with the virus, and many students are worried they'll have to go home if there are more classes on campus.
I think my biggest worry is that there's an outbreak and we get sent home and we're not able to be here.
Yeah, I still don't think it's really been taken very seriously. Like, I've still seen fraternities and sororities having parties out front.
UND and other universities like NDSU and MSUM have an active reporting dashboard that keeps track of cases like UND. To learn how to find that, download our VNL app.
Let's take a look at the COVID-19 numbers for the day. North Dakota is reporting 127 new cases with 1 new death. The death toll is at 137. The positivity rate is at 4.91%. There are over 1,600 active cases. In Minnesota, there are 717 new cases with 4 more deaths. The death toll is now 1,777. More than 63,000 people have recovered.
North Dakota's Commerce Commissioner Michelle Comer is leaving her post and returning to the private sector in October. She was appointed to the Commerce Department in December of 2018 after serving 2 years as State Labor Commissioner. Last Wednesday, Interim State Health Officer Andrew Stahl also announced that he's returning to the private sector.
President Donald Trump turned a surprise opening day appearance at his party's scaled-down national political convention into an opportunity to cast doubt on the integrity of the fall election. That was just moments after delegates nominated him for a second term. Trump vigorously contended that he's done such a great job as president that the only way he can lose is if this is a rigged election. He assailed anew the idea of mass mail-in voting by people worried about the coronavirus.
U.S. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy testified on Capitol Hill today, fielding questions about controversial changes he has made to the nation's post offices that have allegedly slowed delivery. The House Oversight Committee chairwoman accused him of trying to hobble mail-in voting months before millions of Americans try to vote in the November presidential election.
Will you put the machines back? I'm very proud to lead the organization. The rest of your accusations are actually... Will you put the high-speed machines back? No, I will not. You will not? Will not. You will not. Well, there you go. There I go. What? Those machines...
Madam Chair, let the witness answer the question.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer announced that a subcommittee of 2 Democrats and 1 Republican will investigate the Postal Service's changes.
The USDA says more than half of North Dakota is abnormally dry. Not only is it putting pressure on crops, but the animals eating them. In central North Dakota, cattle are having to eat whatever's left in the fields after a harvest. What they're eating might impact 2021.
1 year of overgrazing probably won't be that detrimental, but if you go back-to-back years of overgrazing, it may affect your production maybe for the next 4 or 5 years.
What farmers are experiencing in 2020 is the opposite of 2019. Last year, the yields were plentiful, but the weather tanked their value. This year, the weather stalled growth, but the crops look healthy. Extension agents recommend that ranchers avoid leaving their cattle in the fields for too long to help next year's crop.